Now, face the mighty bison.
When we talk about which characters are broken in this game, yes, everyone knows. You hear the Anna, you hear the Nina, you hear the Brian Fury, you now hear the Claudio, you even hear Lydia. You hear a lot of names being thrown around in the top 5, top 10. But the thing is, and this is for me personally, those characters are not equal in how fun they are to fight against. Something that I always stress when I'm playing Tekken is how fun the game is because, I'm no pro, I'm no expert, I'm no master at the craft. I have a lot of weaknesses in my gameplay and I try to work on those, get better. But the thing that keeps me going, keeps me coming back day to day to Tekken is how fun it's been. And Tekken 7, if you look at Twitter, I did a top 5 video games of all time, well, fighting games of all time. Tekken 7 was there, and it because it was so fun, so rewarding, and there was so much to explore. With Tekken 8, my overall complaint about this game is a lot of times you can't explore your possibilities. There's one way to get out and one way only, and if you don't do that or if you don't know that, you simply lose the game. And that is very like restricting on what Tekken used to be, just from my perspective. I could be totally wrong, but like when I showed up in Tekken Tag Tournament 2, Tekken 6, and I was like experimenting, it was so much fun. But so many characters, they just put you in a situation where there's one option or you die. And I kind of don't like that, right? But the thing is, there's certain characters at the top tier that I like fighting a lot. And then there's certain characters at the top tier who I don't like fighting. And then there's other characters, because you can look at the flip side of it. There's other characters who are considered to be the worst characters in the game. And then, but for me, I dislike playing them the most. And now look, I'll start saying names of these characters. Let's start with Devil Jin. Devil Jin is without a doubt considered to be the worst character in the game. Now, I think he's a little bit underrated, but hey, worst character in the game considered by everyone. But the thing is about Devil Jin, if you ask a lot of people what do they like to fight him, you will hear the answer no. And the reason is because like he one lost a lot of his identity in Tekken 7. He was one of the coolest characters to fight against, but his gameplay is also like very obnoxious because he has very limited ways of engaging, and those ways that he engages is just super repetitive and also restricting of the opponent's playstyle. And then of course you could talk about characters like Harang and Anna, Alyssa, Nina, some of the best characters in the game who has a tool for every situation, and they will just put the clamps on you and basically make you feel hopeless. Other characters who are also part of this conversation is Brian Fury and Claudio. Now, I always play a lot of Brian Fury, and I say that I have so much fun in that matchup. No matter how powerful he is, when I lose to a Brian Fury, usually it feels like they're just better than me. Of course, there's time where he has that charge up guard break, or he does an install, or he does the ground move that pick you up off the ground, taunt, heat smash. Of course, every character in this game has something that can rob you and make you feel like you've been robbed. But generally, a Brian Fury player is showcasing so much skill, so much timing, so much like understanding of the game, right? They're poking you, they're stepping, they're punishing, they're thinking about what you're doing and how they want to respond to that. And that's something that I respect a lot. And that's why I love the Brian Fury matchup so much. Claudio is another character who's quickly becoming the most talked about. You can see so many people switching from their mains. You have character loyalists like Book and whatnot switching off of Jin to play Claudio. It's crazy, right? But Claudio is someone who is very strong, very, very strong. And he basically can be unbeatable if you play him right. A lot of the characters can be. But the thing about Claudio as well, I did like death matches and I've been playing a lot of Claudios and I've been having a lot of fun. And I had to stop and think about it. Why do I have fun fighting against Claudio and Brian Fury and not characters like Devil Jin, Alyssa, some of these other characters? Raven is someone I talk about a lot and it really drives the Raven mains crazy. Same thing with Lars and Shahid. Like there's a lot of characters that I talk about and people are just sick of it. They're like, this Yoshi main, he plays Yoshi and he's talking about this. I get it, right? But I have to think about why is that is. And I think I figured it out. A lot of these other characters play this style of Tekken 8 where they restrict your movement. They play the style of Tekken 8 where they jump at you with some huge attack, jump across the screen, plus frames. And then now you're in this situation where you got to either step, crouch, or punish, interrupt, or you just get put in a very chaotic situation. And with Claudio, yes, he has forward 4-2. Yes, he has that other high move that's also a high. He has a sidestep forward too. He has a lot of moves that are pretty crazy. But the thing is that I like about him is that it doesn't go into a mix up. Like I feel like other characters when they jump at you, it's an advantage for them to do another attack. And Claudio, he could do like another forward two, he could do another up forward two, he could do like another one of these mid high type poke moves, so that gives him huge frame advantage. But for some reason, I just don't feel like I'm under the same type of pressure when a Anna is doing it, when a Harong is doing it. Look, I'm just sharing my experience with some of the strongest characters, going up against some of the strongest characters in the game. And the reason why I think I like fighting against Claudio is because if you get a proper read on his forward 4-2, crouch, launch, and you kill him. If you get a proper read on that low while standing 4, and then now it's your turn. I feel like Claudio, if you are paying attention, if you're actively playing defense, you can get out of it. But like for other characters, I feel like their mids goes into mix-ups or goes into some kind of pressure, and then you're forced to guess. And that is a huge difference where someone is just doing a plus frame move in your face and then they could just keep doing that same move versus they do that move one time and then now you have to guess. And I think that's the biggest distinction between the characters I like versus dislike. And it's by no means an indicator of skill. It's just a type of play style and a type of gameplay that I enjoy. You know, characters like Armor King, characters like Fakaram, they also embody this Claudio Brian Fury style of gameplay where they may be able to do this attack, spam this attack, or, you know, do this type of like gameplay, but there's not much more like mix ups or forced guessing that comes out of it. Maybe there is. Maybe I'm just talking gibberish right now, but when I play the game, I don't feel like I'm constantly guessing against a Brian Fury, guessing against a Claudio. Yes, they have good chip moves. Yes, they have good low pokes. Yes, they have amazing mids that will kill you, but it's not guessing. And I just love that element of it. I could play a Claudio and a Brian Fury and some other characters like all day and have a great time. But then when I go up against a Alyssa, it's just the worst experience ever. And I'm really not trying to like trash on people's characters because I know people get very upset when I do that. But I'm just trying to like figure out like in past versions of this game, the characters were so fun to fight against. But as time goes on, they get these really wild mechanics, and then that becomes the standard. And the developers feel like they have to one up themselves. Like with season two was basically one up in the garbage that every character already had. So the developers, you know, if they didn't reach all of this backlash and if they listened to the backlash in season 3, how will they not one up all of the chaos that we've seen? Tracking mids everywhere that goes into mix-ups. How will they de-escalate from this point and bring Tekken back to a point of like actual movement and thinking and guessing? I also was watching a lot of Tekken 7 lately and seeing the way that people were able to freely move around and poke, but also seeing how attacks whiffed in that game. I was looking at Tekken 7 and I was like, oh yeah, Tekken 8 that hits. In Tekken 8 this has more range. In Tekken 8 this does this, right? I just hope and really wish that Tekken can go back to that because Armor King and Fakaram kind of shows we're heading in that direction. Those are, you know, very close to standard Tekken characters. You know, your boring Tekken characters. They don't really have any wild Tekken mechanics, Tekken 8 mechanics. And if they can somehow get all of the characters back in that direction, their own variation of those, that would be sweet because I have a lot of fun fighting against some of these other like characters. It's really just the stance guessing because like Claudio and Brian Fury are really strong, but it feels better to get hit by those than to get put in a stance mix up and have your guard broken and then like get destroyed. I would rather die to a powerful move that just does a billion damage than dying because I guess wrong. A character can be really weak, but if they're forcing you to guess over and over, it's not a good experience. And a character can be really strong, and even though they have very strong tools, them not forcing you to guess over and over, you could really have a lot of fun in that experience, right? Because it feels like Tekken 7 in a way.